some men or women have found the way. Some have found the way. And how often do we see the gardener arriving, 3-story mansion? The guy comes out and he's sort of doesn't have his shirt on. He's relaxed in the morning, and he's sort of giving instructions, and then he goes off and does his thing. Some men have found the way, others have not. Others are still looking. Some have cottoned on. They've worked out their path to riches, their fortune, what that path is. It's an amazing thing, because along the way you kind of start to know what works, what's not working, some of the things that you can put into effect, others that you can't. And I really believe every single person, every person, it's not a comment I make lightly. I think around the world, I think in any country, I've been to Mauritius where they're millionaires. I've been to India where they're multi-millionaires. I've been to places where there are people that, despite how small their percentage earnings are, despite how small in relation to the American dollar the exchange rates are, whatever the case is, I discover all the time that people find ways, they find ways to leverage what they're doing to a whole new level, becoming very, very wealthy, very, very wealthy people. And wealth is something that's on my mind a lot, more so perhaps than money or riches. Wealth, the actual building of wealth, creating a everlasting or a very long-term source of income, very large wealth proposition, something that basically changes generations to come, a legacy. And this comes up again and again and again, right? I'm very lucky in that on a day-to-day basis I connect with, see, meet extremely wealthy people, and a lot of these people have made their fortunes doing something that is quite either different, perhaps not even unique. I think because a lot of them they haven't really done much that's unique. All they've done is they've taken some of the steps to do some of the things that buy cash businesses, or businesses that are cash flush, or businesses that are actually really good businesses, or they see a business opportunity for the purchase of a business that's not running effectively enough, efficiently enough, and they can see how to run that better given their skill sets. They understand marketing, they understand retail, they understand the science of consumer behavior. Whatever the case is, they get it, they understand, and for that reason, they then move on in the direction of that particular business. Every business comes with a burden. It's almost like with every success comes the burden of what comes with that success as well. So it's not just all easy sailing. Definitely not. Things are challenging, to say the least, with most things. But some things can run on autopilot. Some things can pretty much, with minimal amounts of management, minimal amounts of interference, human interaction, can actually run quite well. You look at a lot of the fast food franchises, they can sort of run relatively well on unskilled labor, people that are just friendly and sort of have just the bare basics of what serviceability is all about. But nevertheless, they're the right people. And the identification of those people as the right people to operate in those kinds of businesses is quite good. So and quite effective, the ability to find all-star players. All-star meaning really good players in a team, people that are, in essence, extremely good at being in that role. They really serve that purpose. They really suit that particular business profile and the role that they're asked to take on. So those things are valuable for a business in ensuring that that business runs efficiently and makes money even while you sleep, like Michael Caine says. So we sort of enter into a zone where we now question the kind of businesses that we should really be buying. And I think that, anything that you can separate yourself from so that it runs automatically. Brian May, and if you remember reading the book, How to Make Money Out of Thin Air, Brian May is the guitarist. What's really fascinating is that you start to realize that, any business you can subtract yourself from, and it still runs, and it runs well because you're selling something in a box, in a package. Those are great businesses. I've been doing that for years, and with moderate successes. I wouldn't say incredible successes, and a lot of people exaggerate online. There's no point in exaggerating. Just tell the truth. We haven't had extraordinary successes, but we have had moderate, temperate, consistent, steadfast successes. And those successes come from really just building good client bases, building good buyer bases, building good supplierships, and things start sort of going in that direction. I've always tended to look at a business as a little bit like George Lucas. Build a business, add value to your existing brands, your existing ideas, your existing concepts. Keep adding value, keep building that company so that what it has as a library of content becomes very valuable to the next business that is in a similar business. Like a Disney. Disney has got a compendium of characters. It has a distinct requirement to buy fan bases, fans, guaranteed eyes on screen, people that really love a specific idea or concept. And for as long as you can build a company and then position it so that it is purchased, bought out by someone else, that's what the idea is all about. And I think that's what Saban has been trying to do for a bit as well. There is a Marvel did it. They got bought out by Disney, and George Lucas did it with Star Wars. He got bought out by Disney. Really position your company so that when you look at it from the perspective of a buyer like a Disney, and you're looking into a company that's got millions of notable fans, loyal fans, a big loyal fan following, and you can continue the longevity of that brand. You can continue to line extend the brand into all sorts of things like toys, merchandising, etc. Amazing things happen. It becomes a notable business, a business to buy. You've got to build a business like that from ground up, and I think we've been doing that for a while with various businesses. One of our businesses is a music development production business, and that one's got brands. The other one is a publishing division. That publishing division has got titles and brands and product and intellectual property and stories, and those things become valuable, right? Because they become purchasable later. And many companies, what they do is they build brands and then they just peter out. They just undertake some other business because they don't think their business is done well enough. And I'm asking you today to really think about your situation and decide that perhaps it is worthwhile packaging your business and getting it ready for sale. It's possibly worth your while franchising it, zipping it up, turning it into a ready-made, sitting inside a business in a box type package and make it available for sale. You can replicate the business and have other people buy into your vision and operate similar franchises or businesses under license in other countries. Or what you do is you just plain outright, good old-fashioned sell your business kind of way. But sometimes your business hasn't matured. And if a business has not matured, it means that, it's maybe plateaued. I find this with a lot of my learning. Anything I'm learning, there's a point where I plateau. I start off big, very involved in learning and discovering it, and it's getting very exciting, and I read, and then all of a sudden it's sort of like a lot of what I'm reading is very similar. It's not different, it's not challenging to my thinking anymore, and I sort of think I kind of have it now, and I move on to a new subject. But in actual fact, that subject hasn't been exhausted. It's just that the Peter principle, right? I've become sort of competent at my own level of competence. I sort of don't go beyond my comfort zone in that particular subject. I kind of peter out myself, and I start to realize that 28 books on marketing, starting with Don Peppers and ending with guerrilla marketing might not be enough. That might not be enough. I might have to go into other more complicated marketing styled books, and I might be requiring myself to challenge myself and read other extraordinary marketeers, people that have really done extraordinary things in the world of marketing. Steve Jobs is a great example. But also, there's all kinds of other extraordinary people doing marketing. So you can't stop. You almost have to keep figuring it out, listening, taking it in. A lot of the times I skim over new books and I go, do I know this? Oh, here's a section I've never heard of. This is interesting. I like this. And it doesn't help if you discount social media outright. If you turn around and say, well, social media doesn't really work, because it does. But in some contexts it doesn't, and it's a waste of time and money. But in some contexts it really does work. It's very powerful, and it really flies. People, things that are unique and catch the eye are very socially viral. They're great viral products. So, this is very much on a platform that's like a volcanic lava carpet where everything's always changing. You have to be very aware of what's going on all the time. You've got to be very awake to everything. Now, I do these programs because I love interacting with you, but at the same time I also love expressing certain things because a lot of the times they're on my mind, that day. For instance, the sale of a business today might be on my mind. The other thing too is that, things remind you of success. You start to realize the guy that's doing the gardening, and he might be a multimillionaire himself that's just enjoying a bit of gardening, but he kind of looked like a 30-odd-year-old. He didn't look like he was incredibly wealthy. He just sort of looked like he had created a job for himself. And gardening is good. It's very healthy. You're out in the sun. You're out among nature. It's beautiful. It's a great little thing to do. However, you totally connected to your job. If you decide you're going on holiday, your job comes to an end. You suddenly have to go and work really hard again because you're back. You're back, and you haven't made any money for 2 weeks. So you're stuck. You are the job, right? And that is in itself scary. The best types of businesses, of course, are the ones where you can free yourself up, where the thing that you are doing continues to sell even if you're not there. And it sells sometimes even better if you're not there, if you're not interfering in your own business. Some people are their own worst enemies when it comes to their success, and they really are. I know I am in many situations. I leave it to me, and I probably won't believe in myself enough to submit the film to a market or a festival or I do, but I don't. I lag, I hang back because I don't think it's good enough. So I get in the way of myself, and people will turn around and say, it's awesome, really get it out there, do this. And they sometimes do more for me than I do for me. So we do get in the way of ourselves. And we almost have to have this arrogance, but in a nice way. Arrogance is never a nice thing. But we almost have to have this belief in ourselves that we can do this. You know, we are good at this. We can achieve something. Where our film is good enough. The music I create is good enough. It's awesome, you know. So we have to have that feeling of, you know, if I don't believe in myself, who's going to believe in myself? You know, I'll succeed because I bet on myself. I rely on myself. I trust myself. I can trust myself to achieve what I need to achieve because I back myself. I am my biggest backer. And those thoughts, those affirmations, what you've just heard me say, these are little affirmations that genuinely take us to a new level of success. One of the things that I've discovered in working with many, many, many clients is many of them give up along the way. Many. They give up before the finishing line. They give up. You know, it's just too hard. It's the assembly of a business, the assembly of an idea. It's just too much. They can't do it. And the other thing is their own lack of belief. They don't believe in themselves. Or something else comes along. And like Gen Yers, and I'm not knocking anybody, but a lot of Gen Yers, I've noticed this from employing them, they tend to give up very easily and just flit onto something else. You know, something else also makes sense for them, you know. And yesterday they were fascinated and they wanted to do it, and today they're kind of somewhere else. And I think those things are really destructive. They you know, they need to be, you need to sort of mentally see the world from the perspective of grow it, build legacy, you know, build something special, make something amazing happen. So, I want you to have a great day. I'm now in shadow. I want you to have a great day, and I want you to have fun today. I want you to really have a good one. But think about your business, you know, decide, well, you know, maybe it's worth starting to look at packaging it and selling it. Think about it a little bit carefully. You may discover that's the way to go. Enjoy your day.